I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore.
I used to be a non-binary, anti-racist socialist.
The main thing that caused me to leave the Democratic Party.
Why are some Democrats voting for Trump? It seems like from 2020 to 2024, there has been a massive rise in people who are just identifying as politically homeless. Not so much that they are leaving the left, but that the left left them. So in this video, we're going to react and listen to people's perspectives on why they're voting for Donald Trump despite being a lifelong Democrat.
16 months ago, in April of 2023, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. I began this journey as a Democrat, the party of my father, my uncle, the party which I pledged my own allegiance to long before I was old enough to vote. I attended my first Democratic convention at the age of 6 in 1960. And back then, the Democrats were the champions of the Constitution, of civil rights. The Democrats stood against authoritarianism, against censorship, against colonialism, imperialism, and unjust wars. We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy. As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically from the core values that I grew up with. It had become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big money.
And he's exactly right. Like, that is really one of the main reasons why this lifelong Democrat, one of the most famous Democrat families ever, the Kennedys in the United States of America, is coming out and denouncing the Democrats and even endorsing Trump because of this very reason, that they're not the same as who they used to be or who they claim to be. You know, even in this prime example of this election cycle, everything that they're claiming Trump is going to do, he didn't do when he was president. And then everything they're claiming to fix, they haven't done in the past 3 years in office. The math doesn't math. It's like when I was growing up, when all of us were growing up, for most of us at least, we were taught that, you know, the Democrats were lit. Like, that was it. That was a team to be on. Like RFK said, you know, it was the party of inclusivity, no wars, no censorship, freedom, this, that, hip and hurrah. But it's almost like the party switched. The Democrats aren't that. It's like, truthfully, more often than not, there's a lot of people who identified as a Democrat who haven't even moved politically. Like, their ideas have been the same, but the Democrats have just gone so extremely left that the only people left for the Democrats, well, used to be Democrats, to kind of talk to and mingle with are more centrists and Republicans because they're more open to hearing it and not shutting people down. You know, I feel like with most Democrats, you can't even have a conversation about most topics because you'd be called a bigot or racist or homophobic. The list goes on. Like, I don't get it. And we're going to be going through this whole video. So many people who don't understand how the Democrats are rooting and tooting for inclusivity, positivity, love, equality, acceptance, but you're acting not like that, and you're not even being consistent. Nothing is making sense. I've talked about this before in another video, but you keep hippering and hollering about having this black woman as a president. You can't even tell me what a woman is, and then you're telling me I shouldn't be caring about people's color, the color of their skin, but then you're rooting and tuning for the brown woman just because she's brown. It doesn't add up. So this is huge. RFK Jr. coming out and endorsing Trump and denouncing the Democrats is massive. And I urge everybody, this speech, this is a snippet, okay? This speech is 48 minutes long, 2.1 million views on this one channel. It's definitely something you should be listening to and just digest while you're in the car or cleaning, whatever it may be, because it was such a great speech and it really outlined how much the Democrats have changed.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, then I invite you to join me.
Tulsi, that woman, let me tell y'all, that's why I want to be president. And it's crazy because like she's literally everything that they say they want. They as in the Democrats. Lifelong Democrat, worked in Congress as a Democrat, served in the Army, is a woman, is a person of color, fit, young. I mean, the list can go on. That is exactly who people are saying they're wanting, but they didn't display that in 2020 when she was running for president. Why? Even though she tore Kamala to shreds, she's a threat to the system. She's not, you can't control her. Even oh my gosh, her podcast with Joe Rogan, amazing. She talks about how when she first was in Congress, she was like one of the only Democrats to like go across party lines and like bake everybody cookies and try to like connect and mingle. But everybody was still stuck in their ways, like sports team politics. And she's not for that. And she sees, I mean, we're talking about lifelong Democrats here. She sees how much they have changed. Like, I want freedom. It was the Democrats pushing all this control, non-stop control in all these major cities in 2020. No, you need your stamps to get in the restaurant. You need to be locked in your house. It's the Democrats that are saying, no, little kids who want to transition, we need to let them transition. It's okay and it's fine. A woman is somebody with a penis. It is okay. The centrists and the Republicans aren't saying this. And them not saying that is not making them hateful or discriminatory either. They're just rooted in common sense, and the Democrats have left common sense. It does suck being like politically homeless and kind of lost in your thoughts, but it's confirming watching these videos that I'm not the only person, I'm not alone who feels this way. We're not alone thinking like, damn, am I really a Republican? Like, no. It's just that the left left the left. I'm sure for a lot of us and a lot of these people, your views generally have not changed that much. When you sit down and you think about how you believe and how you want the United States to function, you've always wanted a strong border for the same reason that you lock your front door, for the same reason that a lot of us live in gated communities, gated apartment communities, the same reason, all our sporting events, banks, jobs have front desk and security, because we know in this world there is good and there is bad, and it is okay to want a border to protect yourself. The same reason we're fighting so hard to protect Israel's borders, to protect Ukraine's borders. Why can't we just protect our own? That doesn't make us racist or hateful. There's so many layers to it, but everything that Tulsi said about the Democrat Party and how much it has changed is exactly right and on point. Racializing every single issue going on in the United States. Race this, race that. You know how many little black boys and kids were shot in Chicago, but y'all don't hear a peep about it? Black Lives Matter, the biggest scam that people were saying was a scam, and then they're over here being called hateful and discriminatory, but the court documents show that actually, yes, Black Lives Matter did buy a bunch of mansions. Black Lives Matter also didn't do a lot for local communities. So both Tulsi and RFK Jr. have now come out not only denouncing the Democrat Party and stepping away from it, again, being lifelong Democrats, but they've also endorsed President Trump, that's just mind-blowing in itself. As you see here, Trump taps RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard for presidential transition team, which I think was such a smart play on Trump's end to just grab everybody that the left is leaving to build to his team and really create a team that's not even that hardcore Republican or conservative, but really just standing for common sense, security, free speech, the list goes on. And if you're new here, I get all of my breaking news from Ground News, which is basically a hub that gathers all the news so you can see it from a clear, unbiased perspective. As you see here on the side in coverage details, it tells you the total news sources, the left, the right, the center, the bias distribution. You can even toggle between the left versus the right and see how the different headlines are framed, which is very important for me because I don't want to be trapped in an echo chamber. And if you're outside of the United States, don't worry, this can be for you too. Up here in this corner, you can tap the the edition, and you can change between international, UK, Canada, Europe, the list goes on, so you can really see the news that matters to you. Especially regarding this election cycle, one of my favorite features from Ground News is the blind spot feature, which basically says everything that the left isn't talking about but the right is, and then everything that the right isn't talking about but the left is. So you can clearly see who is talking about what and what you are not being shown. Quick examples right here. Harris abandons the 2019 pledge to ban plastic straws. The left isn't talking about this at all because they love their paper straws, but Kamala's like, oh, I want to get back to the plastic, and the right is talking about it. And on the right, an interesting one that I found down here is more than 90 company executives and 100 law enforcement officials back Kamala, which is very interesting that the right isn't reporting on it because they want to make sure that, you know, back the blue, their police all rally behind Trump, but that's clearly not the case for a lot of people, and the right isn't reporting on that, but the left is. And truly, besides the blind spots, the main reason why I love working with Ground News in general is because there is no bias. It is completely subscriber funded to help combat the issues of clickbait and all the media sensationalism that we see all the time. It also helps me share the news with my liberal friends without sharing a more conservative and right-wing source. For example, my best friend sent me an article from CNN and I just knew it was phony and it was like low-key wrong, and so I sent him an article from Ground News and it just gave him the tools to see all the news for what it is on that specific story. So instead of me combating him with a Fox News article, I hit him with a Ground News link and it showed him his article and how everybody on the left was saying it, the center and the right, and he was able to see for himself how he was misled. So I think that is a perfect example of how Ground News can be utilized as a really great tool in this election cycle to help share the news with your friends, to equip them with the tools to be more knowledgeable and not be misled or guided by the mainstream media. Ground News actually changed his mind and is changing a lot of minds out there non-stop. It simply equips you with the tools to see the news from an unbiased perspective. So if you want to stay fully informed on the 2024 election and more, be sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or tap the link below to save 40% off unlimited access to the Vantage plan, which is the one I use this month only.
So over time, you and I, who used to be on the left, are now like, where's the left? Where are you guys? You guys are so far away. I can't even see you. You're out of your mind. You're chopping dicks off and giving little kids hormone blockers. You have no idea what the long-term consequences are. You're ignoring the health risks. I was 100% a left-leaning person who lived in Los Angeles. I was 100%. I never voted Republican my whole life. I was very left-leaning. California went nuts, man. It's gone like full communist. The no cash bail, the letting people out for committing violent crimes, not stopping people for stealing up to whatever money it is. What is it, $900 now? I think they raised it. San Francisco, most of San Francisco is emptied out. They ruined the city.
Again, another person completely spot on. Joe popped off. The left has left the left. They have gone crazy. San Francisco, down the crapper. Cali, down the crapper. Why, do you ask? Because of the policies that people keep voting for. It blows my mind. There's so many Democrats that live in Cali and they're like, yeah, it's gotten bad, and yeah, all the looting and the team stealing stuff because, you know, they're not gonna get charged, and the bail and this and that. You voted for it. Like, if you're blindly voting Democrat, you're gonna quickly see, you're gonna be confused. Bingo. If you don't know why you're voting, you're going to be very confused why things start changing in your community. Quite honestly, if you don't know why all these stores are popping up, shops are popping up, why crime is on the rise, or why this street has now building a roundabout, like if you don't know any of these things, because you're not tuned into your local area, your local politics. If you don't know why you're voting, and genuinely you don't know, you're just voting Democrat to vote Democrat, don't be surprised when things start changing. You're voting for these changes. So of course, it comes to no surprise how Cali has become the way it's come, because these people keep voting for it. It's become unrecognizable. Again, another reason why people are leaving the left, another reason why all these Democrats are starting to vote for Trump and not even get so remotely so far away from what the Democrats are today. Castrating little kids. Like, that's not a fake thing. They always say, oh, it's fake, it's not really happening. It is. I'm not talking out of my ass here. I'm bringing up sources, I'm bringing up facts. Like, it actually is something that is happening. The non-stop looting, where is it mainly happening? All these Democrat cities where they don't do nothing about it. Ghetto. This ghetto, I wanna leave. Oh, this ghetto, I wanna leave. I wanna leave.
When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out of touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech, and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world? I thought I was part of the anti-war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now.
I mean, she's spitting because you got who you had up there. You had Obama. You did the Obamas were there talking about my parents told me I shouldn't be greedy. Girl, you got about 3-4 houses. Michelle Obama talking about that. Then you got Oprah on stage talking about the gender pay gaps and inequalities. You're a billionaire. All these A-listers, celebrities, actresses, actors, the whole nine. It's elitist. It's literally elite.
How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind, when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations, that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he's absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever.
Goes right back to what I said in the beginning of this video of all of us feeling like politically homeless and left out, because like this woman, like she obviously doesn't feel like she aligns herself with the Republicans or identifies as a Republican or conservative, but she's definitely not a Democrat. They've left her. She's left alone, and a lot of people feel that way. All those suites in the DNC just filled with the corporate donors and lobby and all these groups that the Democrats claim to fight against.
I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president. I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore. I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her, and for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
I mean, she took the words out of a lot of people's mouths. Just a genuine feeling disconnected from Democrats and not knowing where they stand on certain issues and not answering questions. Just it's all a facade. Yes, representation of Black women. Yes, a woman in general. Yes, Queen, Slay, Brad, this, and that. And it's like, okay, but what are you actually doing to help us? Because you've been in office the past 3 years and you're claiming to change all these things, but you're currently in office now. You keep saying all these bad things that are going to happen under Trump. We already had Trump. He's already been president. What bad happened while he was president compared to all the bad and all the wars and all the fightings and all the crimes and all the inflation that's going on under you right now? That's the question a lot of Americans have. That's the question that a lot of Americans are bringing up, and you know, they're being left alone. And now this person more than likely is going to be voting for Trump, especially now that Trump has the backing of so many prominent centrists and so many prominent Democrats that have now left, like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. You know, we may see Joe Rogan vote for Trump, but so many others. It's like, this is a genuine feeling that a lot of people have.
The liberals back then were forward thinking, they were progressive, they were intelligent, educated, and they were quite tolerant people. Interesting to talk to. Today, this is not that world. The liberals of that time have already won the culture war. What we have today is a battle between absolute insanity and common sense.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of common sense, okay? So people who call themselves traditionalists, conservatives, they're actually mildly liberal compared to times past. And you know what? The MAGA movement is not a right-wing conservative movement. It started with Ross Perot, was with the Tea Party, and then Donald Trump is another chapter. And I think soon people like Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be another chapter in this movement. But all in all, it's really a movement of common sense. And we have no common sense anymore in politics today.
Like the party that used to be claiming to be Democrats is not them today. All we're fighting, like I said, when I said back when it seems like Trump is assembling the Avengers, it's literally insanity versus common sense. To fight for open borders when you are always walking around with an armed guard, and you more than likely live in a gated community, and you're talking about open borders. You're talking about allowing children who you say can't consent to have sex. They can't consent to change their sex for life. Insane. You're fighting for women's rights, but if I say, can men get pregnant, you'll say yes. If I ask you what a woman is, you'll say someone who just feels like a woman. Insane. To say that breastfeeding is not okay. It's not an okay thing to say. It's hurtful to some people. We need to refer to it as chest feeding. There's only one party saying that and advocating for that. Insane. To say yes, these criminals who are looting, they shouldn't be facing all these harsh crimes. Insane. To say that people should be jailed and fined for spreading misinformation and hate speech online. While in disguise it may sound pretty and appealing and a nice thing to say, that's wrong. And that is insane. Because it's the same people that say, oh, A, B, and C is misinformation. 2 years later, that A, B, and C is now true. We witnessed this all throughout 2020, 2021, and 2022. Insane. It all boils back down to sanity versus just general common sense. That's really all I care about, is bringing back common sense. Because all these things and Project 2025 and all these crazy things that they're saying is gonna come to light, I don't see it ever reaching the table. And all the things, the Democrats do not have a good track record. Because again, everything they said that would happen under a Trump presidency back in 2016 didn't happen under Trump. It happened under Biden. The inflation, the wars, the crime around the cities, all these things are happening under Democrats. And people are fed up.
The main thing that caused me to leave the Democratic Party was how hostile they had become towards outside ideas and perspectives. The culture within the Democratic Party even came to encourage people to be hostile towards people who did not share their beliefs.
How many of us have gone through this? Just wanting to have a simple conversation. We see this right now with all these influencers. You're canceled. Oh my gosh, you said the N-word when you were 13. Canceled. You're a bigot. You're racist. You're homophobic. You're transphobic. You're fatphobic. It's all coming from one side of the aisle. It is crazy that I'm being called racist and homophobic by white liberals, by all my old friends that I don't have anymore because I'm just vocal in my beliefs, and now this is the big problem. Inclusivity. That's inclusivity for you. The Democrats don't even want to talk. You can't even have a conversation with your friends. So many of you guys feel this way. So many of you guys are scared to talk to your friends about your views, your family about your views, because your whole life will be uprooted, because you'll get canceled, because your friends will hate you, because your family will look at you different, because the people at your job will not like you. You get all these. I've had friends get fired for their views. Okay, that's not happening on the right.
To have them outcast as racists and bigots and homophobes, rather than engaging in any sort of intellectually honest conversation with these people. So even when it came to issues that were quantifiable, for example, the lockdowns causing the greatest drop in small business ownership in U.S. history, even quantifiable issues like that could be proven with numbers would be dismissed with claims of racism and bigotry. So basically, the free exchange of ideas was being shut down by the Democratic Party. And without the free exchange of ideas, free society itself was put at risk.
You can't have a free society without being free at the risk of offending somebody. That's what a conversation is. We have to be open and free and just talking, communicating with one another, having open dialogue. We have to promote these things. They're not bigoted, they're not hateful, they're not racist. It's just how we communicate, and we have to be able to communicate. We have to. That alone is making so many people, that's like almost, it seems like the first step to becoming politically homeless and feeling like the left when you're not even able to have a conversation. Back in 2016, 2017, 2018, when I was really looking in the other side of the politics and other aisles, it was always my Republican friends willing to debate me on my beliefs about BLM. But now that it's switched, no, they don't want to have a conversation with me. I feel so bad for so many people out there because the way these Democrats be acting, and they claim Republicans act, but the Republicans don't act like that. Wild. This isn't a video just saying that all Republicans are perfect and great, whatever. But we're seeing a major shift in Democrats in general, and how they're the ones abandoning their own base.
I used to be a non-binary, anti-racist socialist. So yeah, it's definitely been a radical lifestyle change since then. The catalyst for rethinking a lot of my position started with me realizing how many basic questions I couldn't answer. So for example, I ended up in the hospital one time.
Hold on, can I ask, what was your catalyst for such a radical lifestyle change? Really curious to hear your story. You're an anomaly with love. I don't know what this is. I guess this person used to be a raging liberal and now they're just sane, like common sense. I don't know. They've definitely went through a change, so let's just continue to listen.
I needed a female doctor just for safety reasons, but I couldn't define the word female. Like, I knew there was a safety difference between a male doctor and a female doctor, but I couldn't explain what that difference was or where that difference came from. Like, do male doctors just identify as threats and female doctors don't? Or was there a biological difference between the two that you couldn't identify out of? At first, I was actually really afraid to just acknowledge these differences because I didn't want to be seen as transphobic or bigoted. And when I realized that I was willing to put my safety at risk for the sake of this ideology and for the sake of not being offensive, that was a really scary feeling. So I started to just rethink everything and not thinking about whether it was offensive or not, but just trying to find the truth. And that's kind of how I got to where I am now. I asked a lot of questions, really thought logically about things, and decided that everything that I believed, or almost all of it, was pretty wrong. But yeah, I'm just much happier now, and I wish that more people would wake up from the lies that they've been taught from the woke left.
Valid. I mean, she felt more comfortable with a female doctor, and when she sat back and thought about it, was like, well, damn, why do I want a female doctor? There's obviously a difference between having a female doctor and a male doctor. I wonder what it is. And that starts the breakdown of, the views and beliefs that she had. So I'm happy for her. I'm glad she woke up to this and she's thinking for herself, but it is sad that it got to that point where, damn, you're sitting here like, I don't even have common sense anymore. I genuinely can't even define a woman, but I know I want a woman doctor right now just to feel more comfortable. Again, it goes back to insanity versus common sense. That's a varying theme across varying people from varying lifestyles that they're all identifying. It's very clear that something has happened with the Democrats and the left. If you have lifelong Democrats like Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. coming out denouncing the Democrats and voting for Trump, being a part of his team. When you have Joe Rogan, a lifelong Democrat, saying, whoa, I've been here this whole time and y'all have just I blinked and y'all are gone. To the everyday person, the person going to the DNC and being like, why are all these elitists here? I'm not hearing anything about the issues I'm facing right now in middle America. To the black girls, like, you know what? I'm history. We gonna be history the way things are going. But damn, please, if you like this video, do share it with someone. Because I feel like it was a pretty tame video, just hearing people out and their perspectives. But these are the many reasons why there are so many Democrats that are now gonna be voting for Trump. The Democrats have left what it means to be a Democrat, and it's clear Republicans are not what people made it out to be. So if you really liked this video, you enjoyed it, it spurred some thought into you, please do share it with those who may not agree with you, to those who are genuinely curious, to your open-minded friends. I feel like it genuinely provides the value and the context needed to understand what is happening in this political landscape from a very rational point of view. I mean, there are some parts I for sure got a little heated, but it goes back to that guy hit the nail on the head. It's insanity versus common sense. And I'm tired of these fake activists. I'm gonna leave Jamal for another video. So I'm gonna pop off and I can go on for the rest of the evening. So with that being said, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate you a ton. Please like and share, subscribe. It helps a ton with the channel grow. We just hit 300K. Now we're at like 306, 307. I'm here for it. I'm just very glad that the channel's receptive. The content is, you guys are hanging out, chatting in the Discord, the Patreon, supporting. It means the world to me. And most important at all is that I hope that you're taking control of your own life and yourself and your thoughts and your mind and your well-being. That you understand, do know, and trust that you are important and you have more willpower than you may realize. If you're still here at the end of this video watching this, then this is for you listening to this. This is for you to take this message, whatever it means to you, and run with it. That it's not too late to start on your goals and dreams. It's not too late to get your dream body. It's not too late to get a new job. It's not too late to go back to school. It's never too late. We get one life and it's limited, so don't give up on it. Create this, take advantage of it, and go about your day. Truthfully. So with that being said, love y'all a ton, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.